Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video. In this session we're going to do something a little bit different. We often talk about our software and topics related to that, and this is on the fringes of that. We're going to talk about project management blogs and our favourite 10 project management blogs under the guise of 2020 vision for your projects. And an important way of keeping your projects developing and delivering is to develop yourself, to improve your understanding of project management and related topics, and to grow and develop as an individual and as a project manager. And that can be difficult because we all have pressured jobs, and booking training can be challenging to fit around project timetables, etc. Often we give up those sort of things to make sure our projects deliver if a problem occurs. So that can be a challenge, and a really good way of still getting some learning in is to think about blogs. There are hundreds and hundreds of project management blogs out there, and they're really good sources of information. Latest learning from journals, often not dumbed down but made more accessible through blog articles, people talking about their own experiences, what's worked well for them, what hasn't worked well for them, which can be really useful if you're a new project manager picking up that experience. Often people don't talk about those sorts of things very much, so giving you a route to some sort of collective experience. Also, if you're new to the area, there's lots of guidance about what training you might do, what tools you might use, all those sorts of things. It's about tapping into other people's experience, which is always going to be a good thing. Lessons learned is important. Risk management is important. That's about getting a broader understanding, seeing things that little bit earlier, perhaps. So, without any due wasting of time, let's get on with that. So we've got an article on our website about these 20 blogs. The links are also in the description below, in the YouTube description. So the first one we want to talk about is projectmanagement.com. This is not really an individual blog. It's a collection of blog content put together by the PMI, grouped into lots of separate blogs, and you can see here you've got lots of topics. It's updated very regularly. There's probably 10 or 12 new articles a week, and they're by leading thinkers in the field. Actually, some of them come up in our list further down again, but you can see them divided into various topics down the side here, and then you've also got a list of all the latest posts brought together across these. So you can either dive deeper into some topic or area that's of interest to you, or you can just pick the latest ones. No charge to come and look at these. It's all completely free. It being the PMI, they're very tight on too much commercial pushing of products and training materials, etc. So it's often good quality, not biased material, which is a really good place to start. The next one is the Praxis Framework blog, and again this is quite similar in that it's a collection of blogs and content put together by some leading thinkers, all supporting the Praxis framework endeavour. Again, you can find the links to all those down the side here. You've got it based into different groupings of different sort of technical areas, and then you've got each of the different authors as well down the left hand side. Again, some of these people come up in the list further down, but it's really good academic content, and it is quite deep. It also covers things outside of the project management sphere, so into more general management topics as well, and the sort of things that you might cover on degrees on management theory, or the sort of things that I covered in when I did my MBA, for example. So there's some really good deep content here. If you've not got a strong academic background in project management, this is a really good place to come and find out about those things. The next and the last one of these collection type blogs is from the other leading Institute for Project Management, which is the UK's APM, the Association of Project Management. Again, we're looking on 3rd of February. There are articles here from the 3rd of February. Lots of leading thinkers in the the UK project management area, posting to here. These are often people that blog on their own, but the better pieces might be available here. This is, in fact, we've written pieces for here occasionally as well. So really good place to come and find, quite diverse, lots of different opinions, from very junior people through to really quite senior, long-term experienced project managers. The fourth is how to manage a Camel. I think this is the first project management blog I started reading, probably 15 years ago, something like that, from the people at Aris People in Manchester in the UK. A lot of the content here is around sort of two themes. It's around developing junior project managers, so training, careers information, advice, that sort of thing, and about PMO. PMO best practice, developing PMOs, etc. But lots of content. Lindsay Scott's quite a well-known speaker in the UK, so there's some really good stuff there. They also run surveys and benchmarking reports on the state of the industry, so there's some useful content there coming up regularly. Girls Guide to PM. This is Elizabeth Harrin, who also writes pieces for the PMI blog that we looked at the top. Started off, I remember, writing from the sort of working group around women in project management, that sort of aspect, but it's very broadly diversified into all project management topics now. It's quite interesting. It's quite light and accessible sort of reading. There's lots about tools, about training. Again, it's good for people that are new to the industry. Some templates and some quick guides to topics. It's really quite interesting. So that's a really good, nice, easily accessible one to get into. Then we've got Project Bliss, which is Lee Espy's blog. Again, quite a light and accessible one. Again, supporting some downloads and things like that as well. Lee is from the US, so she has a slightly different sort of take on project management, and her background isn't formally project management or engineering or software. She's a psychologist, so she has a very different sort of view on projects and the way teams interact and work. So some quite interesting reading there. Next we've got one from Australia, Better Projects. This is quite an academic blog. The format of it is that you have to go back post by post at a time, but it's quite reflective and interesting sort of views on project management. It won't be everybody's cup of tea, but we quite like it. So, like I say, there's some good deep academic sort of content in here. Perhaps not the thing for newbies, but it's good for. There's a whole range of things in here for different things for different people. The Lazy Project Manager, which is a great title in its own right, is by Peter Taylor, who's famous for writing this book, The Lazy Project Manager. And there's a whole load of topics springing from the things he's writing. Again, he's a leading speaker. He speaks at lots of conferences and events for project management. So it's good to see, early on, if you're not getting to those sort of events, you can find out what some of that sort of thinking is here. Then we've got Brad England. Brad is probably the, I guess, most prolific writer on project management. He writes also for the PMI blog that we saw earlier on. And he's writing all the time on lots of different sort of topics, things from the general, not just the project management area, but outside of that. He writes software reviews. He talks about all sorts of new techniques and concepts in project management. So there's lots of interesting stuff. As you can see, his blog goes back a long way, 10 years or so, and it's quite deep in content. So that's a really, really good, thorough place. Perhaps not unsurprisingly, number 10 is our own blog. If you've come across this, you're probably familiar with us already, but providing free project management software to over 500,000 users, and we blog around that, how you can make your projects better without spending any money, tools to help you do that, as well as other things to help you do that, as we're talking about here, as well as our commercial products as well. So we are quite techie focused in our blog, but for some people that's really good, and if you haven't got an experience in that area, then you can pick up a lot from that. As I say, plenty of other project management blogs are available. There are hundreds of them. We haven't written this with any particular axe to grind. These are the ones that we use. These are the ones that we have, regularly dipped in and out of. And there's no back scratching here. We're not promoting them because somebody else is promoting something of ours. These are the ones we actually use. There's quite a lot of lists, very long lists of project management blogs around, which are full of stuff that isn't active anymore, and stuff that's been driven by other agendas. It's worth thinking about those sort of things, because it's quite a lot of work to write a blog. People do it for some gain, sometimes financial, sometimes reputational, etc. These ones, we read and trust because in many cases we know the people, but we've seen them, over a long period of time delivering some useful, helpful content. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. Leave some comments or drop us a message if you'd like to suggest any others. Thank you very much.